Top of the stretch. Here they come for the Breeders' Crown elimination. Closing fast is Delaney Hanover on the outside. Stash some cash is looking for the line, but Delaney Hanover and Zeron time it perfectly. 151 flat. That's a new track record. And they should sprint here with Prince Hal Hanover leading the way. But Prince Hal Hanover well rated and holds on by a length. And Yo Tilly turns for home. Yo Tilly won't get caught. She wins by 2. Yo Tilly. Dandy Ideal with the lead. He's called on for everything he's got. Blueprint on the outside just continues to get closer. Dandy Ideal on the inside. Holds on for the monumental upset. Ending the perfect streak of Blueprint. It's Lexus Cody with the lead. French Wine trying to come to him. Lexus Cody will put him away for the win. Chantilly in the center of the track. It's Mickey and Minnie called on. She holds on by a length right now. Unreasonable closing to her. Mickey and Minnie holds on. Nijinsky digging in. Irvin Hanover is just relentless on the outside, and Irvin Hanover's going to get up over Nijinsky. Ken Hanover has got the lead. Maximus Mickey tries to battle back on the inside, but Ken Hanover, the trip was too sweet. He scores.
Cam Fella still the best. 19 in a row. Cam Fella.
Battle to the wire. Anthony Schiff wins the Simcoe Stakes.
He's big, he's strong, and he has got it going on. Top 25, Canada's horse. Sun Beach somewhere.
Yeah, motivated on focus.
They're up and pacing.
This is the moment. Gotta one on my opponent.
McWicked on the outside.
Gotta get it, the mindset. Gotta put it in motion.
You gotta be kidding me. TCI wins the million.
Game time, bet I'm coming in clutch. No hang time, man, they can't keep up. The game's on the line, seconds.
Lean back, get your picture taken.
Crowning moment on Canadian soil for Bulldog Hanover.
Motivated on focus.
A late push from Confederate. It's my show. Wins the big show.
This is the moment.
Everybody, and welcome back here to another night of fantastic harness racing action here at Woodbine Mohawk Park. Of course, we enjoyed night one of the Breeders' Crown Finals. We witnessed 4 finals go postward there for the rookies on the pacing side as well as the trotting side, and what was a spectacular evening. And also out of town action, Blue Jays are up 1-0 in the World Series, so that counts for something. But I had so much fun covering all the action all night long, and I know my co-host, the Hall of Famer Randy Waples, he was absolutely jacked up about last night. And Randy, I mean, we were excited about what we saw last night. We've got to be pumped up about what's at stake here tonight. 8 Breeders' Crown Finals this evening.
Yeah, absolutely. But I'm going to tell you, it's going to be a tough shoes to fill. Mm-hmm. We had a great night last night. So, I mean, you know, we got lots of more divisions, you know, the 3-year-olds, the glamour boys, the older horses, you know, all that kind of stuff. But tough shoes to fill because, like I said, last night was incredible. I mean, we had storybook endings. Yep. We had undefeated horses, you know. We had 2-year-old fillies there that were unbelievable. So, yeah, let's get into tonight.
And even, of course, we had another driver who picked up his first Breeders' Crown victory in Jason Bartlett. So we had a little bit of everything, to your point, and just exciting action all along. That's what you want. I mean, we build it up. We look forward to, nights like last night and tonight. But when it all kind of comes together and we get the action that we witnessed last night, it's what really makes it sweet, and it's always great. It's tough, right? Because we witness all these superstars, Randy, being able to compete, and sometimes you just say, oh, I hope the racing lives up to it. But anytime you get the top drivers across North America and the top horses going for that kind of money, you're going to get some racing.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. But, you know, last night there, one of the guys got there because he didn't over-race it, you know. So very, very unbelievable night last night. I got, you know, goosebumps still. I'm not kidding you. I had goosebumps when Bojangles come down the lane. I'm not kidding you, you know. I mean, I really do. I've been doing this, you know, long time. Horse gives me chills. Not just him, other ones too, you know what I mean? But what he's accomplishing right now gives me chills.
That gave me chills, and as did, Storybook Love coming up the inside. Just, you know, when you really put it into perspective, to just kind of think about what a moment like that means for Todd Ratchford and his family. I mean, I've never had the luxury of, playing sports at a high level or even driving whatsoever. But, you know, for that moment, for him, it had to be special.
You know, it's funny because I kind of have been in that situation the odd time myself, you know what I mean? And it's not often that you get to win a big race the way that he did it last night. But I'm going to tell you, if you watch it and slow that replay down, so you think about it, he's locked in at the head of the lane. And the horse that's in front of him, I think it's Oka, he doesn't have no go. So he gets off his back. Now he's got to move him back down to the inside. And as he's coming up the inside, I don't think that the room was initially there, but then it is. And it's like he just comes out the other side. He knows there's nobody there, and he's now, you know, 2 steps away from winning the Breeders' Crown, and then that's when you see him like kind of get into it, realizing, you know, that hey, no one's going to beat me now. And it was just, the feeling is incredible.
And we'd be remiss not to obviously acknowledge Matt Bax, who also picked up his first Breeders' Crown championship. A guy who watched his dad, you know, ply his trade for years and saw him be in these races and obviously in some other marquee races. So for him, I'm sure that was a really special moment that he shared alongside with Todd. Look, we had some great action. We also had some great wagering opportunities last night, Randy. A couple of carryovers in that early pick 5 as well as a double carryover in that pick 6. No carryovers here today, but we do still have a strong wagering menu here, as we can see on screen. $100,000 guaranteed early pick 5. We've got a pick 6 mandatory payout, so we were going to get a really strong pool regardless by virtue of that double carryover. Anytime they've made the pick 6 a mandatory payout, you go 5 out of 6, it's all getting paid out tonight. We always see a strong showing in the wagering support on some of these big nights. So I think that's obviously imperative, and a wager that I think has garnered quite a bit of interest. Of course, that mid-pick 5, $100,000 guaranteed, which is going to be every leg but one is going to be a Breeders' Crown action. And then we've got that mandatory high 5. It was taken down last night, so we're going to start anew. But still, it's going to be a mandatory payout, so you know it's still worthwhile playing in a big, big way.
Yeah, absolutely. There's going to be a new money bet into it tonight. It'll be worth a bet, no doubt.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so we had 4 finals to cover last night. We've got 8, Randy, so we better get to it right now. And we're going to kick things off here in race number 2 and what's going to be the first of 8 consecutive Breeders' Crown finals. Starting things off here in the Open Mares Trot. We're going to be scratched down to a field of 8 here, and we never saw limbs last time out for this division, so all these mares are either coming off qualifiers or prep races or just coming here straight to the final. This division is really, really competitive, Randy, and I struggled with this race landing on one particular horse, but I think you can make the case for several in here. Curious to hear which direction you went here in this spot.
I went right to the one horse, John. Drawn Impression is the way that I'm going to go. 0 for 10 so far this year, but we know what she brings. And I got a feeling that the mare that this one's out of, Emoticon Hanover, she's going to have herself a big night tonight. So I'm going to hopefully look at Drawn Impression in the winner's circle at some point. I don't believe, I mean, you can see what she did last year as a 3-year-old in 51, you know, made $373,000. This year, maybe not quite as, obviously not quite as good, but I still also see once in a while she does put up a big effort, and he's given her a little bit of a rest here. And to me, that's Luke's forte. Is these big races? He gives them a little bit of time, has them on their toes when they come in here. So Drawn Impressions the way that I'm going to go.
In the qualifying effort, I mean, you could see the line that she's coming in off of. I mean, for Luke, it's just kind of like a tightener, right? He's going to have them even sharper coming into this final. Look, this mare's been unlucky this year. Right, I mean, she's put herself in some pretty good spots, has made miscues in some inopportune moments all season long. But we know the transition to 3 to 4 is a bit of a tough one, and you know, for her, it's been, you know, she's been facing pretty good trotters all season long. I'll tell you what, who's made the transition from 3 to 4 look pretty seamless. That's the Annie Stobie trainee, Elisa Hanover, who got a chance to qualify last week as she gears up for this Breeders' Crown final. I know Annie Stobie discussed that she wished she could have gotten an overnight race instead, but I think when you go 51-1 in that qualifying try, I'd say you're pretty tight. So we're going to get a chance to see that qualifying effort that took place last week, and we've got some other Breeders' Crown eligibles participating in that qualifying prep, Randy. And look, this is a stunning-looking daughter of international money. I think the qualifying effort, I like the way her body language looked, and I think Dave and Annie have every reason to be confident as well.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Now, the only thing I would caution a little bit, though, is that I was reading the interview that Annie put down, and she said she kind of didn't really want to see her go quite that fast, but Dave said she just took off, and, you know, I don't know if I like that. If she's the type that does it all the time, then it wouldn't bother me as much. But I don't think she's the type. I think it kind of surprised them a little bit. So my only thing would be is that I hope she's coming in here healthy. That's would be my only caution, is that she's coming in here healthy. Other than that, she looks amazing. Annie Stobie, you know, I mean, what a job she's done with her horses, and almost got the job done last night with Diabolic Hill. So wouldn't be surprised to see Annie Stobie and Elisa Hanover in there. But just going by the interview, you know, the idea that she just kind of took off on the front end on them there, whatever, that kind of bothers me a little bit.
And she's mentioned that she does get a little bit grabby, and that's been the case over her last few tries. You could see some outside draws that she's had to work with in some of those recent efforts, obviously being Dayton and Delaware. and she wanted to go. I don't think Dave wanted to put her in a spot where she was going to take that much air, because we know how difficult it is from those outside draws, at Dayton as well as Delaware, especially Delaware. Dave was a passenger. There was nothing she could do. But I'll tell you one thing: she was still moving forward. She still looked like she had lots left in the tank, and they're not going to do anything different. And they, again, even though she's a little bit grabby, she's still finishing strong on the end of it. So one that's going to merit a lot of respect here. But you know who else is going to merit some respect here is a pair of Oka Svanstedt trainees, specifically being Warwi Michelle. We know the talent that she has, Randy, but I got a chance to catch up with Sarah Svanstedt just moments ago to talk about not only the mares here in this spot, but some of their other entries later on in the program as well. With Sarah Svanstedt of Team Svanstedt, as they have a busy Saturday night here. And Sarah, we're just going to touch on some of your entrants here this evening. We're going to start off in race number 2 with the trotting mares. You've got a couple of them who have been recently added on Lasix, and will be back on Lasix after returning from Lexington. We'll start off with Nelson Bright Eagle. I thought this mare has raced pretty well since adding Lasix. And coming into tonight, do you think she's a bit of a sleeper? And also, are you going to be racing her barefoot tonight?
No, she's going to go with shoes, and the Lasix is more that it's the end of the year and they are like hustling. And I mean, she have been dealing with tough trips over the summer and bad posts. So if she got the right trip, she's a fast mare. So she's sure going to be top 3 if everything works out.
Warwi Michelle, one that's coming off a narrow defeat in Lexington. It was a game effort. A mare who's in with a big chance here tonight. And for her, is she going to be racing without shoes? And how is she coming into tonight's effort?
She's going to go with shoes. Really don't know if it doesn't play out for her with shoes or not, because she has raced great with both. So the whole thing in the fall here has been to point to Breeders' Crown, and she did a tremendous mile in Lexington in 49. So I really hope that it's going to work out for her so she can have this one.
You have a couple of horses later on who drew poorly, unfortunately, though. Mr. Mutson, post number 9. This guy's been a little bit of an under-the-radar player in this division. He's coming off a really good effort. And is he going to be racing barefoot tonight? And what are you expecting from him from the outside draw?
Going to have shoes on, and very unfortunate the whole year, really bad luck since the beginning. So maybe it's the time that is changing. But it's a very challenging number 9. And if the pace is good, I'm sure he's going to finish great, but he needs some luck from here.
Up your deal from post 10, Dexter Dunn's going to pick up the driving duties on this guy. How's he coming into this race as well? On any equipment changes?
Everything is normal with him too, and tough post. So see if Dexter can have some luck on the way.
Appreciate your time, Sarah, and best of luck tonight.
Thank you very much.
Thanks again for Sarah Svanstedt for providing some info there on her stable, on their stable. Again, not looking to pull the shoes on some of those aged mares, which we're not really accustomed to. Of course, things could change, because I guess maybe once they warm them up, there's a possibility, and maybe we'll see that kind of show up here on the board. But for now, it seems like they're going to be racing no shoes. A couple of mares we know that will be racing barefoot. Date Night Hanover, a Marcus Melander trainee, as well as MM's Dream, Randy. MM's Dream, I've never seen a horse have that much of a difference when she races with shoes or without, because look at the efforts at Hoosier Park. She lost to more inferior competition, but when she's barefoot, look at the tries leading up to those Hoosier starts. So she merits a lot of respect now that she is going to be barefoot all around.
Yeah, no doubt about that. I mean, I'm not 100% sure if I wouldn't have changed my pick,
Yep.
I mean, with that, because I agree with you. When she doesn't have shoes on, she's a completely different horse. So, but the one that I got in for second, Date Night Hanover there, she's also going to go no shoes as well. So I'm kind of backed myself up, a little bit with her, but I really would have liked to have used M&M's Dream in there, especially with that change coming in.
Wide open race, and you're going to go price shopping there with Drawn Impression in what Luke Blais is hoping to be a pretty big night this evening. We're going to move on to race number 3, and we're going to get a chance to look at these aged pacing mares. We've got a field of 7 going postward. Again, no eliminations last week, Randy. Some of them got geared up for this final with a overnight here, a prep race at Woodbine Mohawk Park. Others coming off qualifiers, and specifically being that rail starter. The 1-5 morning line favorite, Twin B, Joe Fresh, who's just been asserting her dominance as of late, and just kind of flexing her muscles as the best aged pacing mare in the sport. And not only that, one of the best horses in the sport overall.
No doubt about that. What a great great career that she's had. She's come back strong every year. The first couple of years, maybe Sylvia had a little bit of an edge on her, but not the last couple of years. I think this girl has been the dominant one, and she's going to be my top pick in here. And I don't know if John mentioned. Did you mention the no place, no show?
No place, no show.
No place, place, no show wagering on this race. So, I mean, you're looking at win only. And I'm saying Twinbee Joe Fresh, she's definitely the one to beat, right?
Yep, and Twinbee Joe Fresh coming off a qualifying try at the Meadowlands. And the guy sitting behind her is not going to be a regular pilot. It's going to be Pat Ryder, who qualified her on September 5th. And all she did was rattle off 3 consecutive victories. Pat Ryder sat behind her on this morning stroll, and another really, really nice effort by this daughter of Roll with Joe.
Oh, my goodness. She's just so incredible, really, really is. And I'll bet you this is such a thrill for, Pat Ryder to sit behind her. And like you said, every time he does sit behind her, she responds great to him. She not only goes good for him, but then she comes up with a whole bunch of, wins in a row. So, yeah, really, really looks good. Fresh as a daisy, Twinbee Joe Fresh.
You would think that because obviously Pat being Chris's son, he would have had an opportunity to have jogged her at some point throughout her career. He's never got a chance to jog her before that September 5th qualifying try. So he's got a chance to sit behind her a couple of times now. And I'm sure for him, I mean, it was an absolute thrill. We got a chance to speak with him in the paddock, and he was just, his eyes lit up the moment we said, what was that feeling like, Pat?
Yeah. No, I mean, absolutely. And one of the first good horses that I ever drove was a horse from my dad named JD's Buck. So, even at that age, when you first start driving, the special ones.
What do you make of Sylvia Hanover in this spot? I mean, she didn't look like herself whatsoever. I wouldn't be surprised if she bounced back, but I feel inclined to play against her, even in the exactors or maybe triactors. I feel like there's some other mares in here that you could probably use as value players underneath. Because, realistically, if you love Twinbee Joe Fresh, what are you going to get with the Twinbee Joe Fresh and Sylvia Hanover exactor?
Yeah.
I feel like you got to try and find some value underneath and maybe capitalize that way.
And, maybe tonight's the time to try for the value underneath, because she did have a tough prep going into this race. So a lot of it's going to depend on how she comes out of that last race, she's had tough trips before. She seemed to survive it. And if anything, sometimes she gets a really tough trip and she actually excels. She picks up her game. So with Sylvia Hanover, this is one thing that I know for sure about Sylvia Hanover is that I know nothing about Sylvia Hanover. She is a very, very tough kind of a girl to figure out. I would have to say that the one that knows her probably the best, if it's not the Stacey's, my guess would be Natasha Rive would probably know her the best. Maybe we'll get a chance to see her tonight, and I'll pass along what kind of a week Sylvia had, but she's going to have to be on her game just to be second in this race, let alone win, because there's some other really, really nice horses that are coming in here very, very good right now.
I completely agree. Twinbee Joe Fresh looking to make it back-to-back Breeders' Crowns here for Dexter Dunn and Chris Ryder. We're going to move on to race number 4. That's going to kick off that pick 6 sequence. Breeders' Crown final here for 3-year-old trotting fillies. We've got a field of 10 going postward here, Randy. In the 9 to 5 second choice in the morning line, Delaney Hanover, and the 7 to 5 morning line favorite, Yo Tilly. A couple of elimination winners. Those are going to be the 2 that everybody's going to be looking at in this spot. Delaney Hanover, the last time that she competed against Yo Tilly, she got her number last time out. She was a winner. Now they're going to hook up here for a rematch, and both fillies coming into this final really sharp.
Yeah, no equipment changes in this race. Nothing. Everybody going to stand pat. Very, very interesting race. I go Yo Tilly.
Yep.
I'm going to go this one. Delaney Hanover in for second. Again, you're not going to get much of an exactor out of this one, but Yo Tilly, I think that she can, she did finish second, 2 starts down in the Bluegrass to Delaney Hanover, but then she comes right back with a dominating effort in her Breeders' Crown, and I think that she can, keep this momentum going again. I like the fact that she can take matters into her own hands, get herself involved into the race, and I think Andrew Harris is due for one. And 10 for 11 this year. This girl only beaten the one time.
That's why I went to her, right? She's got the post advantage here, but her biggest threat is going to be Delaney Hanover, and we're going to get a chance to see her elimination victory. You mentioned something, no equipment changes. Delaney Hanover was racing barefoot in Lexington for a couple of starts. Raced here in the eliminations with shoes on, and when I got a chance to speak with Lucas as well, and when you watch her race with the shoes on all season long, Randy, whenever she's got it, doesn't snap off the car all that well, isn't able to get away in the best of spots. We saw that here in this elimination, but she still flaunted her speed late in the mile. She had some panels set up for her up front. Shoes or no shoes, she's definitely going to be one to beat, but from that inside draw, where are you going to get away up the car? Because you can't afford too much leeway for Yo Tilly.
Well, that's the whole thing, And it's not just Yo Tilly. You got Lasting Dream in there, too. And this rail horse stashed some cash. I think this one's coming in here looking pretty good as well. So I use the inside 4 horses, but I mean, there's a lot of depth on the outside too.
Big time. And we got a chance to see Delaney Hanover's elimination victory. We're going to get a chance to see Yotilli's elimination victory. And again, Randy, a filly who's just so confident, can do just about anything Todd wants her to do. Andrew Harris has done an exceptional job of continuing to develop her during her 3-year-old campaign. And Todd McCarthy's done an excellent job just kind of guiding her along to be this kind of filly as well, in which, in the matter of what he can do with her off the car. So a nice, easy elimination victory for this filly.
Yeah, and her style suits our tracks so well. Look at Stormont Beautiful come. She's trotting so fast right here. I think that's why Bobby kind of has to mind her a little bit. She's just going to over-trot herself at this point. But again, as she's trying to over-trot herself to be second because she's such a good racehorse, she wants to beat this one. Todd's shutting her down the whole way to the wire. So, I mean, Yotilli, that was a very, very impressive elimination win. Both of them were impressive, but they were 2 different styles of racing.
And again, we've kind of obviously give the edge to horses that are going to be positioned better than some of those other top contenders, and that's what we're going to see from Yotilli for the most part. And I think that Delaney Hanover, if she's close, I mean, she's going to be heard from. Shoes or no shoes, she can definitely still race pretty well. It's just that snapping off the gate. She's so much better when she's without shoes. So Lucas Wallen said she will be racing with shoes here in this spot. She looks to capture the Breeders' Crown. You mentioned Stormont Beautiful as well. She was a supplement. She raced so well to be second. A tough outside draw here for this filly, but I think that, again, if they mix it up front, she's going to be heard from late.
Yeah, I actually don't mind this draw for her because she's got the outside, so that now, I mean, pretty well all her racing, they're going to race her from off. And if he's down on the inside and he decides to race her from off, that's when you're going to end up getting pinched down in there and never being able to get to where, she needs to be. She's a big horse and she can take air. So I think he can float her down, find flow, and then move her into this race. I didn't use her in here tonight, but wouldn't be shocked.
All right, so that's going to kick off that pick 6 sequence. And we're going to move on to race number 5, which is going to close out that early pick 5. We've got some 3-year-old pacing fillies. 6-5 morning line favorite is Mickey and Minnie, who got the job done in her elimination in 1:48.2. She tripped out, but it was still a really, really impressive performance. And look, they had an option to go with a bye. Chris Ryder said, I don't want this filly to be unraced for maybe 5-6 weeks, so I'm going to opt for the elimination. She's a winner. She assures herself a pretty good spot, and she's going to be even tighter. So she's going to be awfully tough to beat here in this spot. But there's another filly that's caught your attention last week, and she draws inside.
Yeah, she does. And the breeding of the filly that I like on the inside there, too, that caught my attention as well. So Mickey and Minnie, I'm going to put her in for second. Call me crazy. Lots of people have, but I'm going to throw her in for second. And best of luck to the connections with her. But I was really impressed with this 2-horse when she came up last week. Unreasonable, coming from the Irv Miller camp. Done everything properly last year as a 2-year-old, and I think this year she's even brought her game a little bit higher. Looking really good in here tonight. I've drove for Irv different times. He's one of those guys that, she's going to be right on her game going in here tonight. I think he had her on her game pretty good last week. That was an incredible good effort. We're going to show you that. But it says final on the top of the page, Irv has his horses really, really good. So best of luck to Irv Miller. Unreasonable is the way I'm going to go. And Marcus Miller, I'm not sure, would this be Marcus's first Breeders' Crown victory if he did get the job done?
Sure.
I'm not sure either. We'll have to check on that. But good young driver, and hey, another situation where you could maybe potentially win a Breeders' Crown for your father.
And he's done a great job with this filly as well, right? And he's put her in some pretty good spots, including that elimination last week. And we're going to get a chance to see that elimination performance. Mickey and Minnie was the winner, but we're also going to get a chance to see this Irv Miller, a trainee, Unreasonable, who's going to be a runner-up to this Chris Ryder trainee. Look, we know how talented Mickey and Minnie is, and she put forth a really strong effort. And she's going to be tough to beat. She's got a good draw to work with. She's going to be able to work out, I think, the best trip that she possibly can. But again, I really do think Unreasonable has been a filly who's flown under the radar. She got it done in Lexington in the Guernsey. She was able to kind of slip out late. It looked like she was going to take a big shuffle. Somehow Marcus Miller was able to get her to the outside. But look at the pacing that she's doing here. Mickey and Minnie's tough to pass, though, Randy. We see that with some fillies. When they get up alongside her, she really is tough to pass. But that was a good effort by Mickey and Minnie, a good effort by Unreasonable. I thought a good effort by Skywalker C as well.
Yes.
to be third in amongst them. We talked about some drivers who did some good things in the during elimination weekend. How about Austin Hanners?
Yeah.
A couple of horses picking up big pieces, Hill Exotic, Skywalker C, including winning that prep race with Always Be Naughty. So this is a filly, again, a little bit under the radar because she was doing the bulk of her racing in Ohio. But this Todd Luther trainee's got some talent as well, and she draws well.
Yeah, and you know what's kind of nice, too, about Austin Hanners, too? I mean, because he drives so much in Ohio there, he's probably more, used to driving the halves and the 5/8. He steps straight into a 7/8 mile track and does a completely awesome job. You know, a guy that's not used to driving on a, this size, this configuration of a track, but yet hid them all, had the good go on the end of it. Yeah, I could see Austin Hanners coming up with a win tonight.
I think we also have to bring up Chantilly, though, right?
Oh, yeah.
Post 10, it's unfortunate the post gods haven't been favorable to her over the last couple of starts. We kind of expected her to get that kind of trip that James gave her, and she looked like she was ready to just tear off cover and just start motoring. And the moment James tipped her off cover, didn't have that same level of pop that we're accustomed to seeing from her, especially off that trip.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like they just don't quite have her just there. Then she ends up drawing the 10 hole to boot there. But there is a shoeing change going to be coming in on her too. Nikki Gallucci sending in steel to aluminum. They're putting the Nikes on her even with the 10 hole up front. So who knows with Chantilly? Maybe she's going to come out there and give these girls a big run. I threw her in for fourth. I know that the ability's there. We just kind of have to, find it again.
We mentioned that to Twinbee Joe Fresh, Dexter Dunn, and Chris Ryder looking to team up for a second consecutive Breeders' Crown, as is this 3-year-old daughter of Always Be Mickey. Mickey and Minnie putting forth a really game effort in her Breeders' Crown final as a rookie, looking to cap off for a sophomore campaign as well with another Breeders' Crown title. We're going to move on to race number 6. It's going to kick off that middle pick 5. We're going to look at some 3-year-old trotting colts, Randy, and similar group to what we saw race in the first weekend of August in the Hambletonian, but I think the complexion of this division has changed greatly. The Hamble winner, unfortunately, was shut down after that big victory, that Okaspanstedt trainee Nordic catcher. But we're going to get a chance to see a Motorcon Legacy, the 8-5 morning line favorite. This is a star homebred for determination out of the great Motorcon Hanover. This guy, off his recent tries, good luck beating him, I think, in this spot, personally.
Yeah, I mean, what kind of a mare has a Motorcon Hanover been for determination? She was an unbelievable racehorse, and now she's got two of her, and she's just fresh to the breeding shed. She's got 2 of them in Breeders' Crown finals. I mean, what kind of a score is she, right? Or he, or she, but let's talk a little bit about this, offspring. Emoticon Legacy, the 3-year-old colt out of the great Emoticon Hanover, already with $1.3 million put away this year, has a great draw to work with. Luke gave us a little bit of help, got a qualifier into him after that, the Kentucky Futurity win from the 10 hole. Louis didn't do really anything with him, but still get a nice little mile into him in 54-4, and a nice little training effort. And I think that he's going to be the tough one in here tonight, John.
And we're going to get a chance to see his qualifying effort, and I call this the Luke Blais way, right? They don't care about what the time is in these preps, and he's currently sitting at the back of the bus there, 4th, against some trotters there. That's Handsome Sebastian cutting the mile. You could see Louis Waugh in his charge. No anxious moments for him whatsoever. He's just letting him stroll along there. Look, he's got a chance to even angle him out, but he wants to keep this guy brave behind Jody. And look at the hold that Louis got. As soon as he angles him out there, he does some trotting late in the mile. Yeah, he gets beat by several lengths. That doesn't matter to them. This guy's going to be coming into the start cracking sharp, and we've seen him qualify numerous times off slow times, 57 miles. That means nothing.
No.
He's going to drop a few seconds here tonight, and if he's on his A game like he was the last couple of starts or the last few starts, like I said, good luck.
Yeah, I mean, he's got some toughies in here, Super Chapter, Maryland, but I mean, I think that other than the fact that, he didn't get the job done in the Hambletonian, I really do think he's been the dominant 3-year-old trotting colt this year.
Yep, and we have a couple of Marcus Melander trainees, and I believe we'll hear some comments from him momentarily as well about his charges as well. But Super Chapter, Maryland, these two coming off some races in Lexington and the Kentucky Futurity. They were right there at the finish. Both were really good to be second and third. But ultimately, Motocon Legacy, I mean, parking out from the 10 hole, making front, and still having enough to fend off the cavalry charge. This is a horse that doesn't want to get past, and he's really starting to mature quite a bit.
Yeah, and he lives 10 minutes away from this track. You know what I mean? Some of these other horses are up here. They're getting used to new surroundings. Sometimes it takes them a little bit of time. A week or two to get used to that. But this guy, he lives 10 minutes away. He's been here many, many times. So this is just going to be old hat to him.
A super chapter, a really strong sophomore campaign, and Dexter Dunn ultimately going to go his direction. I know he chose Maryland in that Hamiltonian final. After a few starts, super chapter just a little bit more handier, has been racing really, really well as well. So Dexter Dunn opting to go to him in the Kentucky Futurity. But Yannick Gingras, we saw him take over driving duties in super chapter in the Hamiltonian. He's going to take the other Marcus Melander trainee in Maryland. And I thought that effort from the second tier in Lexington, Randy, he was really sharp. They pulled all the shoes in that effort. I got a chance to watch him warm up, and he looked exceptional. And Yannick worked out a really great trip from the second tier, and this guy did some trotting late. I know he's winless as a sophomore this year, but you can't tell me the efforts have been poor.
Oh, racing amazing. 8 starts, 6 times in the deuce. You know what I mean? I mean, trust me, I got him in for third. I don't think he can be any worse than third. I think he's a good chance that he can be second in this race, but I don't see him as a win candidate until I see that big L, so we tell about the 6-horse Chimpanzee Dancer will be racing on Lasix tonight.
He will be, and another horse racing on Lasix tonight, the 10-horse Gold Dog.
Yes.
I think he's a bit of a wild card.
Threw him in for fourth,
Qualified on Lasix on August 17th, and of course in Lexington and some of those Sire Stakes, you can't race on it. So he is going to be back on Lasix here, outside draw or not. If this guy gets involved and works out a pretty good trip, he's a bit of a sleeper. He's got the speed and the talent to go with it, and those trotting hopples seem to kind of keep him engaged as well.
Yeah, and he's won 10 or 5 half of his starts so far this year. So yeah, definitely. I mean, if he doesn't draw the 10 hole, he's right in the mix.
All right, a Motocon Legacy is going to be the favorite going into race number 6, which is going to kick off that middle pick 5. We're going to move on to race number 7. We're going to look at some aged trotters. Randy, got a chance to see a sub 50 trotter as a 3-year-old, which is crazy. And imagine the norm being 49 now, 49 and change for this age trotting group. I mean, back then it was like a folk tale, right? Thinking that a trotter could go sub 50.
Yeah.
Just expected from this group at this point now.
It seems to be, I mean, I'm not even 100% sure if now we're starting to expect it from 3-year-olds.
Yep, it's crazy.
It is. It's insane how 49 just, it doesn't seem to be the that big of a barrier as what it used to be. We're getting lots of shoeing changes in here, John. Which of these 3 that are getting these shoeing changes have you seen other than, Periculum? He seems to like the going to barefoot. But what about Coors and Security Protected? Have you seen either one of these race without the shoes on?
Yeah, and Security Protected, even racing barefoot, I've seen him in the past. Just even though he's barefoot, he still put forth some good efforts on the end of it. Still tough, maybe to get to the top ones in the division. He's kind of left himself a little bit too much work, but I think this guy could definitely close late for a piece. And Southland Coors, I mean, how underrated has this guy been? I mean, I know we've seen this guy race here at Woodbine Mohawk Park for Team Backs, and this was a purchase for Burke and Company. Look, he's really elevated his game here as a 5-year-old. It's kind of sort of what we see from Alexis Cody, who the stablemate who's going to be the favorite. This is the year he really started to piece it all together and take off. So Southland Coors, I think this is a really live drive here for Ronnie Wren, and one that if he pieces it all together can pick up a good piece as well.
Yeah, no doubt about that. He could. Now, Periculum really comes to the front when he goes barefoot.
Yep.
Right. Lexus Cody, let's take a look at his elimination win. This is my top pick in here. Every once in a while, just like you said, a horse starts to come into his own. And I'm not sure if this isn't the year of Lexus Cody, 7-year-old, I mean, he's always been a dominant, nice horse. Don't get me wrong, but not like this. This is different. And to me, I'm going to, that this Dayton race, when he wins this race, that's going to stick in my head for a long time, John. It's going to be a while before I pick against this guy. With the form that he's going and that race sitting in the back of my head, I think this guy could just about walk on water right now.
You could see Yannick Gingras there guiding him to a nice elimination score, an easy victory. French Wine giving him all he could handle. I mean, Jason Bartlett, we heard from him yesterday. He's given this Nancy Tactor trainee perfect trips in all 3 tries sitting behind him. Did say last night, though, that in the last couple of pylons, he starts to get a little bit pacey, though, and that's been a little bit of his issue. But have they tinkered with the shoeing? Has Nancy Tactor in some of those starts? But again, I think Jason's done a great job. He's got a nice draw to work with. I think French Wine is one that is definitely going to be able to work on a pretty good trip. But for me, my sleeper, Logan Park. Logan Park.
100%. Yeah.
Because
total
you know what?
agreement.
I think he really needed a trip like
I
that.
agree.
And look how he responded.
Mm-hmm.
25 and change on the end of it. Plugs still in. Tough that he drew up post 8 here in the spot, but win or lose, I think we're going to see a sharp effort from him tonight.
I agree, and I mean, he's got a good post to not overdo it early and get pulled into this race. I think Logan Park, if you're looking for to play a long shot in this kind of race, a horse that you know is a special kind of horse, but right now his form is just kind of spotty. That last race was amazing. I'd be all over this guy.
Perculum, again, we think that he's going to be the biggest threat to Lexus Cody. He's going to have to get involved probably a little bit sooner and maybe earlier because Lexus Cody's going to be tough to beat as is because it doesn't matter if he goes first over, gets out late in the mile on a short stretch or cut the mile. It's going to be awfully tough to beat him, but I think this Marcus Melander trainee's the one who's got the best shot to do so. We're going to move on to race number 8. We're going to look at some the Glamour Boy division here for the 3-year-old Pacing Colts, and we had a minor upset there in Blueprint being taken down by Dandy Ideal, who was the 6-1 second choice in that contest. Blueprint, though, a big upset in the sense that I think we just all expected Blueprint to get the job done there in that outing. Now, you and I both got a chance to see him in post-parade last time out. Weren't saying that he was sore whatsoever or anything like that.
Not at
but
all.
We've watched him race all season long, and he's just been so sharp. Didn't look like he had that same pep in his step is what we were trying to kind of allude to.
When he was here for the NA Cup, I mean, the horse was dancing out there in the post parade. His eyes were bugging out of his head. You know, he was just sharp. He was engaged, looking all over the place, but just having fun out there. Now, he come out, like I said, there was nothing soundness-wise. He was absolutely perfect, but he just didn't have the bounce. He just seemed like he was kind of, I'm here, and, maybe kind of going into work on a Monday, just kind of being there, He just wasn't the same kind of horse. Now, he got raced from off the pace, put up a big effort, but I'm really looking forward to see what he looks like in the post parade tonight. I'm going to put him up on top. I think he's the best horse in the division, but I want to see what he looks like. I wouldn't be surprised if he comes out and he's back to being the horse that we saw at North American Cup night, or if he's going to be the same kind of, the way that he was last week. I want to see him on there, but nice effort that he put up on
Imagine you and I both thinking that he didn't have that same pep in his step, and he was still that good in defeat. I mean, a horse who, didn't work out the best of trips and was still just charging and charging. That's a horse that really wants to win. And Blueprint, I think he can bounce back in a big way tonight. We'll touch on Blueprint momentarily and look at his elimination defeat, but we're going to go focus on Prince Hal Hanover as well because he got the job done in the elimination. Randy, I know you had some thoughts about this elimination as well because, we thought there was going to be more action. We were sitting here during post-parade saying this is probably the elim that's going to have the most action out of all of them. And we saw Prince Hal go to the front, which we expected. We didn't expect some of the other rivals to maybe take back off the car, but they still put forth pretty good efforts.
Great effort. Sipping on C-Rock last quarter and 25 flat. I'll say it again, 25 flat. That is cooking. Madden Oaks, another one, last quarter, 25 and 3, but they just had too much. They left themselves too much work to do. I understand, sometimes why you got to do that. I just wasn't privy to the move, so I was kind of thinking that both of these horses would be moving forward last week, being involved, and they weren't. You know what I mean? So, I understand why they did it. Sometimes you just want to do things a little bit different, see how it works out. I think Sipping on C-Rock obviously showed that he's quite capable of racing from off the pace, but he's got in the middle of the gate draw from our very best post position, and Yannick gave him a nice easy trip last week. I say it's go this time. I don't see Yannick, taking him off the gate tonight. I think he did it last week. He's going to have him into this race good, but I see he goes out of there, lights on tonight.
We've got breaking news. Yannick wants to relay a message. He will be going forward here from
Thank
post
you,
number
Yannick.
6 there. Just maybe a week too later in the spot. But no, a horse who raced super last week in his elimination. But we got to look at Prince Hal Hanover as well, and we're going to focus in on him here. I know that you got a chance to get some audio from trainer Dr. Ian Moore, and let's hear about his thoughts about his star sophomore Pacing Colt coming into this Breeders' Crown final.
Talking to Dr. Ian Moore going into Breeders' Crown weekend. Doc, you got two horses heading into the Breeders' Crown, both of them winners in their elimination. Let's start with Prince Hal Hanover. What separates him from other 3-year-olds? It makes him kind of stand out.
Well, I think it's two things, athleticism and the mental aspect of it as well. Any good horse that I've ever had, they combine those two together, and they develop a will and a desire to be a good horse and to race other horses, and Prince Hal certainly has that. He's matured a lot from a 2-year-old to a 3-year-old, and he's just been a terrific horse to be around this summer.
Give me a number heading into this weekend. Your thoughts on Prince Hal Hanover? A 1 out of 10. What's his status heading into this weekend?
He jogged his first day back today after a couple of days off in the paddock, so I'm hoping to have him a 10 by the end of the week.
Beautiful.
Some good stuff there by you, Randy, as you got a chance to catch up with Dr. Ian Moore, who is, probably still elated about watching Bojangles cap off his rookie campaign and end it in a big way, remaining a perfect 12 for 12. But I know all the talk has been about Bojangles, but this guy has also done some great things for Doc Moore and company. And look at his sophomore resume, Randy. 17 starts, 7 wins, has bankrolled over $1 million this year. And look, he's got a good draw to work with. He's raced really tough against the likes of Blueprint whenever they've squared up. So he's definitely a main contender, and we know one thing for sure. He's going to be activated off the car.
Yeah, I mean, it's amazing, right? So last week in the Breeders' Crown, Prince Hal Hanover, he goes to the half and 56-1. Mm-hmm. All right, ends up getting the job done, and you think to yourself there, wow, he won because it was a cheap half. Well, okay, so move down to that last, the Tattersall at Lexington there, where he's parked to the quarter in 26, and he makes front in 52-4. Now he does finish third, but only by 3/4 of a length, and that's still into a 48-2 mile. I mean, I think that this horse is really kind of flew under the radar. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Yeah, we all know who he is and he's made $1 million, but his name has really not been on our lips in this division as much as Blueprint, but very quietly flew under the radar and put $1 million up on his card there. Doc Moore is, other like Bojangles, obviously it's not quiet. Everything else in his barn's very quietly come out with a really good year.
And Doc Moore obviously praising the job that Todd McCarthy has done with this colt. I know he got a chance to sit behind him a couple of times during his rookie campaign, but just talked about how he's such a good fit. We know Doc likes his horses raced aggressively, but it seems like this guy in particular, he wants to be involved early. He wants to be engaged. And again, you can see by his resume and his race lines, every time he's put in play, every time he's involved early, he's right there at the finish, win or lose.
The mother was exactly the same way. Percy Blue Chip, great mare. Doc Moore trained this one too. I had to race against her there. It took me 5 starts sitting on her back before I could finally beat her. She was an amazing horse. And Trevor, I'm sure it was Trevor Henry, used to drive her a lot, and he'd always try to get her into play. And boy, when he get her into play, it was over. Mm-hmm. So I mean, I can see why he would be that way. And he's a Captain Treacherous. Mm-hmm. It's sometimes it's hard when you take the Captain Treacherous off. It's hard to get them motivated again. You get them involved, and they'll race. Who
was involved was Dandy Ideal, one that we mentioned moments ago, and we're going to get a chance to see his elimination victory there. Just a very nice steer there by Jason Bartlett. And he kind of touched on it, though, right? Because he's been able to kind of race him a little bit easy in some of those tries in New York, especially in that overnight leading into that Breeders' Crown elimination. He was against tougher company. He was 4th in that outing, driven by Matt Kakeli, but never left the rail in that start. When you get a chance to maybe get some easy races in amongst this division, you've got a chance to put forth an effort like this, and which is could be taxing. I think that's part of the reason why he had enough to fend off a hard-charging Blueprint.
Yeah, for sure. You know what I mean? He's coming into this a little bit fresher than some of the other ones because he hasn't had to face some of the wars that the other ones had. Plus he's been doing a lot of his racing on smaller tracks. He's been avoiding some of the bigger tracks, and if you're sticking to some of the smaller tracks, you avoid some of those really banging 48, 47 every week, So I think that Jason's coming into this night with a really good chance at maybe adding to his Breeders' Crown total.
Yeah, he got the job done in that elimination victory, and yet 3 of us using him in underneath for 4th, and Garnet Barnsdale not using him in his top 4. It's just hard. You got to leave somebody off in what's a pretty good division. I mean, I have Madden Oakson for 2nd. You don't have him in your top 4. A colt who I think Louis Waugh just needed an opportunity to get acclimated with. I think we're going to see a better effort from him tonight. And it was a good effort, but I think we'll see him more engaged.
Yeah, well, I'm sure that he will. Had the rail last week, didn't really do much with it, but we do see down, at the Meadowlands, he had the rail and got away 3rd.
Yep, and that's an exciting race. We're looking forward to race number 8 of the Glamour Boys division. Race number 9 is going to wrap up our Breeders' Crown action here, and what a way to close things out here, Randy. The Open Pace, and appropriately named because this race is wide open. Field of 10 going postward here. The morning line favorite is going to be the 5 horse, Irvin Hanover. look, we both played against him last time out. We knew he was going to be a big-time contender, but that effort was really sensational, Randy. I mean, first over, uncovered in a 52 and change back half. That's a remarkable performance. And Louis Waugh opting to go to Nijinsky last time out, a horse who was coming in sharp in those limbs, a horse who's given him some great memories, provided him some great memories, I should say. Irvin Hanover, though, loses his regular driver and picks up Dexter Dunn, and that was a great effort by this guy. And I think that Dave Maneri's got to be really excited about the opportunity to pick up his first ever Breeders' Crown. And let's take a look at that elimination victory, Randy, because there was a lot of action and there was a lot of horses in that elim who raced really well.
Yeah, no doubt. This is going to be a really tough race. I mean, we're going to touch on 3 or 4 that we like in here, but geez, John, I mean, this is one of those all buttons I think that you could actually touch. You know what I mean? There are going to be a couple, like I said, taking good looks. Irvin, Nijinsky, Ken Hanover, who I have up on top. But I honestly think that Nijinsky is really good right now. But I do think that little bit of time off that he had to come into partway through the season, I think it's got him like a step behind some of the other ones just now. Maybe 3 starts from now, he's going to be the guy again, you know what I mean? But right now, I think that, maybe there's a couple of other ones that have a little bit of an edge on them. Irvin Hanover potentially being one, but Ken Hanover, John, I mean, 24-4 on the end of it, and the way that he did it, another horse that can put himself into play, big, strong horse. I got to go with this one and watch Miller add to his Breeders' Crown total.
Captain Albano, one that had a locked-in journey. I mean, he seems to get locked in often here at Woodbine Mohawk Park. Nijinsky obviously drawing post-state. That was a game effort. I mean, Coach's Corner, Maximus Mickey, Oakwood Arden, Ken Hanover. You could go many different ways here in this spot, but Dave Maneri never got a chance to develop this guy, Irvin Hanover. But we kind of expected a year like this based on what we saw late last year when he came into his barn. So, he showed some good things late in November, some big miles. And now he's piecing it all together at the right time. And you also got a chance to catch up with Dave as he hopes to capture Breeders' Crown #1.
Here at Classy Lane with trainer of Irvin Hanover, David Maneri. Dave, how is Irvin coming into this Breeders' Crown weekend?
Knock on wood, we still got a little ways to go to get to the weekend. But he's just as sharp as he's been all year. He loves the cool weather. This was his time last year. And, everything's pointing in the right direction. Hopefully we can keep the ball rolling. His last, 9 starts, got 8 wins in a second, and I think the second was his best start of them all. So he's sharp going to the field every morning, and, he's just a class act, and, hopefully the trip goes well, and the draw goes well, and the result goes well.
Best of luck this weekend, Dave.
Thanks a lot, Randy.
All right, good stuff, Randy, there. And you could see Dave Maneri very excited about, this Breeders' Crown opportunity. He must feel like he's got the horse to beat, but we know, and I think he knows as well, this is a wide open division. And we didn't even highlight the other elimination winner, but we're going to get a chance to do that now. Ken Hanover, he's going to start from the inside. Is that charted correctly? 24-4, final quarter. Look, he looked so engaged in the post-braid. You could see him. He was right up. Dave really had a good hold on him, and he got out of there aggressively. And we're going to get a chance to see just how sharp this guy was. He was so sharp that Dave decided, you know what, I'm not going to wait till the head of the lane to angle him out. No. Even with a horse like Maximus Mickey, in front of him. When he angles him out, look at the hold Dave has, and look at this guy start to pace.
Yeah, that's the whole thing, is how he does it on the outside here. I mean, he just, at this point, look at the way Scotty's chasing Maximus Mickey, and look at the Miller. Yeah, he's giving him a little bit of, but, I mean, they're just 2 different horses right now. And, I mean, come on, we've all been in this game a very, very long time. It's pretty rare to see 24-4, and it's even rarer when that 24-4, there was a bit of a first over effort around the last turn. So, I just thought the horse was incredible out there. John, quickly, though, I'm going to throw another, maybe a bit of a play out here, too. If I said to you at the end of this night, say they went a little bit Western in this race, and I said to you that Calico Jack Hanover picked up the pieces, would you be surprised?
I wouldn't be surprised, and I think that a horse like Oakwood Arden and Coach Stefanos, I think those are 2 horses that could definitely pick it up. There's going to be some action in this race here in this spot. Again, we never talked extensively about Captain Albano, but we'd be remiss not to also mention Nijinsky, who put forth a game effort in defeat as he got picked off narrowly by Irvin Hanover. And Tony Bean has to be pleased that this guy came back to the races at this point in time this season. I know he had a little bit of a hiccup, but you also got a chance to catch up with him as he hopes for Nijinsky to cap off his 4-year-old campaign with the Breeders' Crown title.
here at Classy Lane with the trainer of Nijinsky, Tony Beaton. Tony, how's Nijinsky coming into this weekend?
He's been coming into this weekend very well. We jogged him there a little today, and he usually swims, right? So I've been jogging him a little each day just to make sure he came out of the race good the other night, and he's perfectly sound, and I'm very happy with where we're at. And we just got to get a good number and a good trip, and hopefully we can
just basically wait.
Take home the crown.
Best of luck this weekend, Tony.
Thank you very much, Ray.
All right, there's some thoughts from Tony B. And you were pretty busy there, getting some thoughts and
a spider bite
there.
too. Should get a medal for this. You know,
you earned it. You know what I mean? You're calm, cool under pressure as well. It certainly didn't affect the filming or the audio as well. But look, this is a wide open group. Ultimately, I landed on Irvin. I was really waiting to see how this draw was gonna unfold. Again, I mentioned it to you a couple days ago, Randy. Captain Albano and Oakwood Arden, post 3 and post 9 were the last two to be drawn, and it was a matter of who was going to get which. I was just hoping, obviously because I love both horses, but I really love the way that Oakwood Arden has been racing, especially in his elimination. It's going to be tough sledding from post 9 because he's going to get away at the back of the pack.
Well, definitely, it's not going to make it any easier on him.
Mm-hmm. I wouldn't say so as well. But again, Captain Albano, one that's coming into this race really sharp. Again, this is, to me, the most wide-open final of the night, and I think we're going to end the night off, Breeders' Crown Night, with some major fireworks. We had a lot to cover there, Randy. I thought we did a great job given the time that we had as well, and we're also going to provide some plays board thoughts as well. And you had a pretty good night. You went 3 for 4 last night to giving out some selections. What do you have for an encore?
Tonight, my all-in is going to start right in race number 1, my friend. That's going to be Miraculous Desby. I'm going to use that one in there. In my race number 5 is going to be Beat the Favorite. That's going to be Unreasonable for Irv Miller. In Waples Watch, race number 9, Ken Hanover. I just was enthralled with him. And then Worth a Look, Light Up the World in race 11.
Not sure what to expect from him tonight.
Me neither. But
not the same colt that we've seen the last couple of starts.
But an addition of something sometimes.
Yeah, it certainly is. And I'm going to look at my thoughts here. And you and I, I'm using Miraculous Desby in the opener, Randy, in my pick 5, but I think Worth a Look is Blue Hunt, starting from the rail, picking up Tim. There's going to be some action to kick things off here tonight, and if he makes front, he could be tough to pass. My crowning moment, Irvin Hanover. I think this would be a huge moment, obviously, for trainer Dave Maneri, and this guy just got picked off in that Canadian Pacing Derby. But you can't tell me that he's not the sharpest pacer in the division, or arguably right now. My best bet, Ruthless Hanover in race number 10 in a competitive open. Tough trip in that elimination. I thought he had some pace on the end of it. My finale factor, Jabberwocky. We saw Scott Zeron, Enric Zeron team up for a victory there with She's Got It All. We've seen that story being told before, though, right? Jabberwocky in the last race of the night, Scott Zeron driving and him getting it done. He's done that on a big night in the past. They've teamed up for a big win.
That's
so
right.
Looking forward to that last race in what's a mandatory high 5. Going to look at some other selections here from some of our resident handicappers. Date Night Hanover, Garnet Barnsdale, his spot play. Doug Henwood going to Sippin' on Ciroc, Deep Crunch. And Gisland Paquette is Super Value, Maximus Mickey. I like all those thoughts.
Yeah,
I think all are in with a pretty big shot. Best of luck to everybody who's going to be watching and wagering this evening. It's going to be a very, very fun night of Breeders' Crown action. We've got 12 on tap this evening, and we've got 8 straight Breeders' Crown finals going one after another. We're excited for it, and we're going to kick off our Saturday nights with the anthem being sung.